Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. DStyleBoxing here. Make sure you hit that notifications button so you get notified every time DStyleBoxing comes on live and uncut on the air. Hit that like button. Support the channel. If you're watching on or listening on archive, leave a comment and tell me what you think. Boy, oh boy. I did not watch this fight until this morning. I actually stayed away from social media completely because I was going to watch a boxing fight. At least I thought. First thing, Sunday morning. What was I doing? DStyleBoxing betrayed boxing. And he went to the dark side and was watching the UFC pay-per-view at a bar, having a great time. That's what I was doing, right? I'll do a video about that. But let's first talk about this here. So I'm expecting to watch a fight. That was no fight, right? That was not a fight. That was Little Mac versus Glass Joe from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. That's what that was. Okay, you ever play that game? Where you knock them down again, you basically know it's over. But only this was in Little Mac. This was big as Deontay Wilder. And that very powerful right hand of his. You could hide a lot of things in boxing. Power isn't one of them. You can't manufacture power. You just can't, right? It doesn't mean everything, but you can manufacture that. Stiverne was folded. I saw this comment by Mr. Boxing today, so I want to give him credit for the comment, but he was folded like a lawn chair. Stiverne got. All right? That's what happened to Stiverne. Stiverne got. All right? Like that dude. Okay, he got mugged. That's what that was. Stiverne got destroyed. That was a destruction. Now, I'll admit, I expected a knockout. I said early. I didn't think this early, but I said early. Because, he came in heavier than the first fight. And I thought Wilder would get him around the 4th, 5th round or so. But no, it's which is good. If I would still be watching the fight right now if it was any longer. So it makes my day go by a lot faster. I could get a lot other things done. It saved me like 40 minutes, so it's all good. But man, let me say this before we talk about anything else. That's what heavyweight boxing is all about. We watch heavyweight boxing for that. All right? Before this, all bullshit aside, that's why. All divisions have knockouts, and all divisions have devastating knockouts and stuff. But there's just something unique about a heavyweight fight, especially if I've seen quite a few fights live, right? And if you're sitting like in a 30th row, you could barely hear the punches, okay, on the lower weight classes. But on a heavyweight fight, you can hear those shots because these are big men, right? Now, it's not my favorite division, but it does have that uniqueness about it. But man, was that devastating. That was devastating. And I need to co-sign something because I did watch a couple of videos and stuff. I want to co-sign something that I heard, and I haven't watched all of them, and I will, but I want to co-sign something that Coach said, and that was and I thought the same thing. The fight should have been stopped after the second knockdown. Stiverne was not responsive. Stiverne walked away from the ref, right? If I've only watched the fight one time, so maybe we'll put it on right now. Not you guys won't be able to see it. I'll get flagged, but I'll watch it. But if I remember correctly, he was shaking his head, I think, even. That type of, submission, at that point, you have to stop the fight. He's turning his back. He's walking away from the ref. He's shaking his head. All right, that's more than enough. The second time he got knocked down, you got to stop the fight. What happened to Stiverne after that was honestly unnecessary. Now, the best part about this was when Deontay Wilder was literally standing almost in attention, just like digging a hole through Stiverne's, through Bermain Stiverne with his eyes. I mean, he was just staring him down, right? I mean, it was just crazy. And then just walked up to him literally and just punched him in the mouth again, all right? I mean, that was pretty impressive, I got to say, right? I don't know if he should do that against a guy like Joshua or something like that if he gets a knockdown, but nonetheless. Now, I did see some other videos, criticizing. How do you criticize a first-round knockout where you got 3 knockdowns in the process, and literally you could argue he won the fight twice. Okay, you could literally argue that. It should have been stopped in the second fight, and then he finished it anyway, all right? So you could practically argue he won the fight twice in 1 round, yet people want to criticize, right? Oh, Wilder's this, Wilder's that. Wilder's, he's sloppy, he's this, he's that. Look, you could say whatever you want, okay? Whatever it is you want to say, you can say it, but it's effective. And when he lands, it hurts you guys. And that's really all that matters, right? I didn't see a lot of people caring when Manny Pacquiao did things that were not very textbook and looked very sloppy. I didn't see a lot of complaining, right? There's a lot of fighters that don't do things the way, and just by the way, let me add on to that. Throwing the quote-unquote proper punch is not always the right thing to do, right? You have a moving object in front of you, right? So they're calling windmill punches. If they're landing, right, then they're landing, right? But anyway, doesn't matter. Now let's talk about the fight. And this is where there's a segment of YouTube that's going to get angry, which to this day I can't explain. Some dudes shut down their channels because of this, but whatever, right? They're over there, hanging around with racists and shit just because of this. But look, real simple. And I'm going to say it. Wilder versus Joshua, right? I want to see that fight. I want to see that fight. I don't want to hear excuses. Eddie Hearn is already going to make excuses, right? He's going to want to maximize his profits already. Don't add fuel to that fire. I want to see that fight. Why do I want to see that fight? Is it because I'm a Wilder fan? I mean, I enjoy watching Deontay Wilder, but is he like my favorite fighter or something? No. I still feel, even now, I still feel like Joshua could beat Wilder, right? I still think he could win that fight. I would still pick him to win that fight. And have my reasons for that. But right now, I'm not going to start talking about the fight itself and break down the fight itself if the fight's not even signed. Right now, I want the fight to happen. I think I have more faith in Joshua than a lot of his biggest fanatics have, because they're doing a whole lot to prevent this fight from happening, right? Every chance they get, no, stop talking about the fight. How dare you talk about the fight? They're just angry, and I'm telling you, This is a fight I want to see. Why do I want to see it? I want to see it, simply put, because I'm a boxing fan. I don't care what beefs are going on with Wilder and Joshua fans. I don't give a shit. I just want to see the fight. I don't want to sit down and compare their resumes. I want to see them fight in the ring, guys. Okay? You could compare resumes with fighters that will never be able to fight each other. Okay? You want to sit down, you want to compare Robinson's resume with Mayweather's resume? Well, then that makes sense because they fought in different eras, right? They fought in different eras, and they were never going to be able to fight each other, so that's all we got is the resumes, right? In this case, we don't need to sit down, okay, and start talking about their resumes. We don't need to do that. That is unnecessary. Anybody can sit down and look at BoxRec and look at their opponents, and if we're honest, especially if you compare them to the all-time greats, both of their resumes are weak, right? Both of them, they're both weak. Now it's not, and here's my follow-up. It's not their fault. This is just the era that they're fighting in. It's not their fault, all right? However, you know how they can both make their resumes better? By fighting each other, okay? By fighting each other. You never know. We might end up having a trilogy out of this. If they have some great fights by fighting each other, all right, it would do wonders for them. Just like fighting Muhammad Ali did wonders for guys like Joe Frazier, right? Fighting each other. And then you throw another undefeated guy in there, Joseph Parker. If they start fighting each other, then the resumes will get better, right? So if you say, well, who has a better resume now? It's irrelevant. The answer is Joshua because of the Vladimir Klitschko fight, right? But that doesn't mean that it's over. That's it. Joshua wins. That's not how you decide this shit. You decided by them getting in the ring, okay, by wrapping their hands, putting on those gloves, getting in the ring, and throwing fisticuffs. That's what I want to see them do. That's not very unreasonable at all. And if you're tired of hearing Wilder fans say that he could knock out AJ, there's only one way AJ can stop, right, all the talk about Wilder knocking him out. There's only one way you could stop that. That's it. The only way he could stop that is if he gets in the ring, and after the fight, he's the winner, and he didn't get knocked out. That's the only way we settle this. Literally. It's like old school, like back in school, when the only way to settle this is just fight. Right? That's the only way to settle this. If it bothers you that the Wilder fans are confident that he can knock out Joshua, well, there's only one way to settle it. Not by bringing out the resumes, not by criticizing one guy or the other. No. You get them in the fucking ring and let them fight it out. I'm going to sit back and enjoy it, right? I'm pretty confident that I know what's going to happen, right? But what I think is irrelevant. If Joshua doesn't think he could do it, and apparently some of his fans don't think he can do it, then I don't know what to say, right? Because mental warfare is a big component of this game, right? And I'm assuming Joshua doesn't sweat Wilder. I'm assuming the fight's going to happen. I'm assuming he wants that fight. I'm assuming that Joshua wants that fight more than some of his fans do, right? That's my assumption right now. Let's be giving them the benefit of the doubt. But if this is a big if, I don't think he is, but if he's scared, if he's worried, if Wilder's in his head, then that can play a role. And me, I'm I'm a scientific guy, right? I like to test the data, right? Let's get him in the ring. Let's have him fight. It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. It honestly is not that complicated. All agreeing that the fight should happen is step one, right? Let them figure out where the venue's going to be, and if negotiations start, and let's say hypothetically, let's say that Wilder refuses to fight AJ in the UK or something like that, and that's the reason the fight doesn't happen, and it's a legitimate reason. Then at that point, then yes, I would come on here and I would criticize Wilder for that. But we're not at that point right now. We have this situation where everybody's just assuming that Wilder doesn't want this fight. Okay, which brings me to this, and that's what's strange to me. That's what's strange. And let me take that back. It's like weird. It's not that he doesn't want this fight. I've never in my life encountered something like this. In all my years of talking boxing and online, offline, I've never in my life had people do the following. Okay. They bash the guy because he fights a bunch of nobodies, right? That's their words. And then when he calls out not a somebody, but the best in the world, they scoff and they say he has no business in the ring with that guy. I mean, this isn't rocket science, guys. It's not. It's not rocket science. Whatever cognitive bias you got going on, you need to recognize it, because I think a lot of you don't even realize what you're doing and how stupid you're looking and contradicting yourselves, right? I honestly believe some people don't even realize it. And I think it has a lot to do because of this animosity. They're thinking emotionally because of the hatred that they have for Wilder and Wilder fans. Okay, I think that's what it is. You would think, right? I mean, this would apply to everything in life. Everything in life. Okay? Just anything. I mean, this is absolutely insane. This would apply to anything. I mean, no matter what it is. If someone's being accused of being a fraud and a fake, right? I mean, I've watched shows where reporters go after like scam artists and stuff like that, right? And what they do is they expose them, but they don't do it by it's like, let's say you're watching 2020 or whatever those shows are, Nightline. Let's say you're watching Nightline, right? And there's someone committing fraud or being accused of committing fraud, right? Like, this person says that, he can consolidate people's debts. But we believe he's doing something illegal. We believe that it's not really legitimate what he's doing or whatever, right? And then let's say that the person that they're accusing of this says, all right, tell you what, I'll get me anybody with debt problems and I'll solve their problem. Whatever. Bullshit. I mean, you would think you would want to, expose that, right? Like if you're so keen on proving that Wilder is a fraud, right? Like if you really want to prove this dude is a fucking fraud, right? Let's say you would really want to prove that. Then you would think you would really want that Joshua fight. And you'd be licking your chops for wanting that fight. Just waiting for that moment that he gets fucking exposed. I cannot think of a better satisfying feeling. Like if you really have like this, if you're very eager to prove Wilder fans wrong, and you want to shove it in their face. If you want to come out and say, see, I fucking told you it was a fucking hype job, you would think you would want to do that. I would. Right? If I knew a fighter was a fucking fraud and a bunch of people were pumping him up, and the guy I'm going for, I know is the real deal, fuck it. Get him in the ring. Get him in the ring. He's going to expose his ass, and man, it's going to be fucking sweet. I'm going to come on YouTube, and oh my God, it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to let him fucking have it. I'm going to come out and say, see, I fucking told you he was a fucking fraud. Right? But no, it's the reaction's the opposite. Instead, it's no. Wilder can't do it yet. No. Wilder needs to fight White. Why does he have to fight Dillian White? Says who? Why does he have to do that? For what reason? Right? Now, I'm not saying I'm against that fight. I'm just saying, how in the hell is that a requirement to get in the ring with AJ? Takam didn't have to fight White. How many of AJ's opponents, guys he's fought White before they fought AJ? How many of AJ's opponents moving forward are going to fight White first before they get to AJ? Well, why does this only apply to Wilder? Can somebody explain this to me? In the words of Coach, how are you going to explain that? How are you going to say that? How are you going to explain that? And I've done this before. I do it every time I talk about this fight. Every single time I talk about this fight, I say the following. Till this day, I don't get a response. I get a bunch of diversion, and a dude that just deleted his channel brought it up in his channel, but he didn't really address it. Okay? He made it about Wilder somehow when it is about Wilder. And it's the following. Like, I want to see the fight. Everybody on board that wants to see the fight, this doesn't apply to them because they want to see the fight. But for those that, for whatever reason, think the fight should be marinated, or you believe that Wilder doesn't deserve it yet, let me give you that. I'll give it to you. Now, tell me, what does Wilder have to do? What does he have to do? And I want as many subscribers, as many random people listening, as many YouTubers. I want you to tell me what you think Wilder should have to do, so you could say, all right, I'm ready to see this fight. Wilder deserves a shot at AJ now. Tell me what that is, so I could write it down. I could put it on file, so when that happens, it could be, yo, Wilder did what he wanted to do, right? But that then they don't like to follow up. And I'm not even telling you what that is. You tell me. You tell me what it is he has to do. But here's the follow-up. And they never like the follow-up, ever. And here's the follow-up. But every fighter that Joshua fights from here on out, not including mandatories, I'll give him mandatories. But remember, Wilder has mandatories too, okay? It applies to both. It works both ways. Mandatories aside, anyone that Joshua fights from here on out better meet all those requirements, whatever it is, that you want Wilder to meet. And if they're not meeting all those requirements, then you're full of shit. You just don't want to see the fight. Right? Or you better criticize AJ for fighting someone who's not meeting those requirements. Now, I already know that why they don't answer this question. Okay? Because I'll admit it's a little bit of a trick question, right? It is. But not because it's tricky or anything like that. It's because I look at the heavyweight landscape, right? And no offense to the heavyweight division, it's not that loaded of a division, bro. Right? It's not filled with all these amazing fighters. You got AJ and then Wilder, Parker, a couple contenders like guys like the Juicer, Povetkin, right? And then some others there, and then the rest of the division. That's the division, right? It's not that impressive of a division. So you're not going to find a lot of names. You're not going to find any names. Maybe Parker, and that's about it, right? Maybe, depending on what your requirement is, all right? But you're not going to find any fighter that is going to meet the requirements that you guys want Wilder to meet in order to fight Joshua. Like, oh, yeah, Wilder's only fought a couple top 10 fighters. Like, have you guys not seen his division? Huh? Now it's heating up. It's getting better, right? It's slowly improving. That's a good thing. It's trending upward right now. I don't think it didn't have anywhere else to go. Okay. Okay, but it's trending upwards. Look at this division. You guys really want Wilder to have like 7 solid names on his resume when you look at this division? Come on now, let's be honest. The one name that separates both of these guys, okay? The one name that separates both of these guys is Vladimir Klitschko. That's it. And yes, I acknowledge that that's a big difference, right? But that's it. Once Wilder gets in the ring with Joshua, if he beats Joshua, that will put his resume above Joshua's. All right? And that's it. Joshua didn't have this impressive resume. What did he like? Because he really couldn't before he fought Vladimir Klitschko. So I mean, this is stupid. And don't bring up Dillian White. Let me just make this real clear, okay? Wilder will stretch Dillian White. Okay? He will. I mean, you guys want to criticize Wilder and the way he fights. I've seen Dillian White fight, right? You guys need to calm down. Like, he would stretch him. He would beat Dillian White. But I also know, okay, it's all bullshit. It's all lip service. You guys, you really don't want Wilder to fight Dillian White, right? And if you do, it's just to hoping that Dillian White, beats Wilder. So that's really what it is. So okay, fine. Then let's get if that's your requirement, if beating Dillian White is a requirement for a title holder, okay? Like if another title holder has to get through the gauntlet, like it has to beat Dillian White, then I better not see Joshua fighting Parker without getting through Dillian White first. Right? Like if that's the path. Like moving forward anyway. Come on now. But anyway, whether you guys like it or not, their names right now are attached to one another. People are not going to stop talking about this fight, okay? And whether you like it or not, networks like Showtime, even HBO, PBC, they're going to be throwing out millions of dollars, okay, and wanting the rights to that fight. ESPN might even get in the game, right? Okay, they might want to bid for this fight. So there is money for this fight, right? The money is there. The money is there. Let's see if I could pull up the chat really quick. I don't know why YouTube takes like, I have to refresh it every time, man. Every time I bring it up, I get an error. I got to refresh it. It's annoying as hell, right? What's up to Haplotype and Blood Boxing and Quest X, right? Blood Boxing return and Ticket TV. What's up? No, nobody mentioned the Wilder fight. At least not that I knew of. It was pretty much after I saw the fight, I took off. Right, I had somewhere else to go, taking care of some business, you know. But and I'm not talking money, okay? I'm not talking in the sheets. But anyway, so no, I didn't talk to anybody about the fight at the bar, right? But watching it this morning was key. Bad Bart, the only people that want the Dillian White fight are Eddie Hearn and Eddie Hearn fangirls who think they're real promoters themselves. Dillian White ain't shit, man. All right, like it's all right. I shouldn't say he ain't shit, but people are putting up here like if he's something, like, you know, it's like, okay, like they want to criticize the way Wilder fights, and I see a guy like Dillian White, and I'm like, really, bro? All right. Yeah, Haplotype. He made him look like nothing. All right. Someone put Wilder fight in the UK versus Dillian, Joshua fight in the US versus Ortiz to make the fight. All right. I can't wait either, Blood. I can't pick who AJ fights next. That's going to be very interesting because they've opened this Pandora's box where, oh no, what Joshua? Why should he fight Wilder? Wilder hasn't done A, B, and C. Oh, really? So why is he fighting that guy? Well, he's the mandatory. Okay, well, you already fought as mandatory. So let's see who he fights next, right? We're gonna see who he fights next. Now, the same applies to Wilder, by the way. We'll see who Wilder fights next. None of the two are above criticism, but what we're gonna see, right? We're gonna see what the next moves are. Haplotype, pretty much every heavyweight has a weak resume. Wilder wants to fight, so I like that. I agree, Haplotype. He wants to fight. He's calling out the best, and they criticize him because he hasn't fought anybody. But then they criticize him because he calls out the best. I mean, this is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no logical sense, folks. None. There's no logic behind that. Think about it. Say it out loud. Just say it out loud. I think he fights nothing but bums, and I hate the fact that he's calling out the best. Like, say it out loud. Then man says, I'd rather cut to AJ versus Wilder. I agree. Blood Boxing returns. It will say that in the summer, that Fury is coming back and still duck Wilder. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath about Tyson Fury. I agree, Blood. All the resumes are jokes. Rascalot, low place picks Wilder over Ali. That's his opinion. I'll respectfully disagree. By a lot, by a long shot. Gorguruga. The majority of mainstream UK AJ fans won't know who Wilder is. I think true boxing fans will, but the mainstream, non-boxing fans, but AJ fans won't know. They know who Wilder is, bro. AJ fans know who Deontay Wilder is, okay? They know who he is. And it'll take one Sky interview and a couple highlight reels to remind them in case they don't know, right? And it could be like that Biggie song, and in case you didn't know, now you know, or however it goes. If you don't know, now you know, well, they'll find out who he is. Blood Boxing returns. These guys don't know what they are talking about, fam. They talk like they related to her. Yeah, they're in the pockets. AJ's they're acting like they're making money out of this. Like if AJ's paying them, you know. I don't make any money off of these fighters, so I just want to see the best fights because I'm a boxing fan. That's my payoff. My payoff is seeing the best possible fights. Some of these dudes are acting like their payoff is a check that Eddie Hearn's going to send them through the mail. Yeah, he will fuck that dude up. All right, more comments here. Dog walk white in Alabama at a football stadium, says Blood Boxing. Rathlot says Parker's a weak ass champion. Well, look, man. Some people are saying he's a weak ass champion. Some people say Wilder's a weak ass champion. You know, there's a very easy solution to all these questions and now all these accusations and all that. Just have them fight each other, right? And that's it. Parker wants to prove he's not a weak champion. Fight the other champions. Wilder wants to prove that, well, he's trying it. He's trying to fight AJ, right? AJ wants to prove that Wilder ain't shit or Parker ain't shit. Fight them. That's how we settle it in the ring. A bunch of a lot of dudes are acting like you settle it by pulling out the resumes. That's not the way you settle a fight. Gorgaruga, Bart, if you think White's garbage, what do you think of all Wilder's opponents? Bro, I could go through all these heavyweights and look at their opponents and just trash them. All right? Like, if we're honest, like, you could do that to any heavyweight right now. The heavyweight division just isn't that stacked, man. Like, I don't know what people don't understand. I forgot who it was. There was somebody that had made the argument that, hey, if the fight doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It doesn't have to happen. Lennox Lewis versus Bo didn't happen, right? Yeah, well, Lennox Lewis, Bo, first of all, no one looks back and says, oh, I'm glad that fight didn't happen. Everybody looks back and says, I wish that fight would have happened. That's number one. Number two, Lewis and Bo had a whole division with solid fighters to fight. Wilder, AJ, and you could add Parker to the mix, right? Do not have that luxury. They have to fight each other to make a statement in their era, period. And I don't know what people just don't understand about that. If AJ, for example, if one day I'm comparing, let's say 20 years from now, somebody brings up, oh, AJ is a better all-time great than Larry Holmes, right? Now, first of all, by the looks of it, I'm going to bust out laughing, right? That's number one. And then number two, all bullshit aside, if he doesn't even fight Wilder, of course, I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to be like, well, I mean, you want to compare him to Larry Holmes? I mean, AJ didn't even fight Wilder. That's going to be a knock on his resume, guys. There was only like 4 or 5, solid fighters, and like he didn't fight one of them. It's that would be a knock on his resume. And 20 years from now, no one's going to care about all these beefs and no, it was Wilder's fault and this, that, and the third, or it didn't make business sense when Wilder was undefeated. Okay, it made no business sense. It made more business sense to fight other dudes. Okay, because he didn't need Wilder. He was selling out stadiums, fighting whoever. Well, that's not going to matter when you're comparing his resume against other all-time greats. All right, it's not going to matter. We're still going to look at it and say, well, he did, like, fault or not, yada yada. He did not fight Wilder, right? And yes, you could look back. You could look at Just like it's not Lennox Lewis's fault that he didn't fight Bo, but he didn't fight him. A victory over Bo would have enhanced, okay, Lennox Lewis's resume. It would have enhanced it if he would have beat Bo, right? But he didn't get to fight him, so he gets no credit for the win over Bo. The only difference is Lennox Lewis had a bunch of great fighters, Holyfield, that he could have fought. So it's Joshua doesn't have that. I know somebody's going to feel, what about Wilder? Whatever you could. The same thing for him. They both need it. They need each other. Let's see. More comments here. I'm going to be skipping through some of them, guys. Sorry. Bloodboxing says, well, first of all, Rascalot says, Parker has the fastest hands. Bloodboxing Return says, Parker is a non-factor. He needs to get involved. Guess he likes playing a third fiddle. Yeah, he needs to get involved too, man. He needs to throw himself in the mix. He needs to be front row at these fights. If I was Parker, I would be front, and if I wanted the fights, right, I would be front row, right, for that Wilder Stiverne fight. After the fight, I'll be pointing at him, so to make him bring me up, right? That's what I would do. I would get in the fucking ring. I'll make security escort me out, right? Yeah, man, nobody really mentions Parker that much. He's getting some passes, but hey, to me, let's just see these guys fight each other. QuestX, Parker has the fastest hands in the heavyweight division, but he's easy pickings for Wilder and HA. I do agree that he's the weakest link of the title holders. But if anybody has a problem with that, then they could fight each other and then we could settle it, right? Gruga asking Boxing Return how much you give Parker against Wilder or AJ. Rascal says none, and Bloodboxing says Parker will lose to both of them. Well, there you go. Tone to peanut butter crackers. There's fans of both who are hateful and drive their bullshit surrounding the prospective fight. They love to fuck shit. And Tone says, yes, I know. Let me scroll up here to read this comment, because that's a reply to this following comment. From Peanut Butter Crackers. I honestly feel that British fans are more unfair and even hateful towards Wilder than Americans towards Joshua. To be honest, it has changed my opinion of the UK boxing public, which I used to praise. Well, look, man, I don't have a problem at all with UK fans supporting AJ. None. There's no problem with that. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's great. I think the UK fans, when you just look at them and you see their sheer support for their fighters, I think that's awesome, man. They pack stadiums for these guys, and that's something that the American public cannot say, right? Now, in fairness to the American, we have a lot of sports that we're good at, okay? So it's not, so I'm just saying. And boxing has become like not even in our, either just inside or just outside the top 10 of our most popular sports, right? So I will say that, but that's not AJ's fault. That's not any of the UK fighters' fault. But it's just, as far as support goes, I think that's a beautiful thing, right? Just like I think it's a great thing when Australians were supporting, like, holy shit, I forgot his name. Jeff Horn, right? Packed the stadium for him when he fought Manny Pacquiao, right? I think it's a great thing. Okay, I think it's a great thing when countrymen, support their own. In the sport of soccer, I think it's a beautiful thing. All right, when someone of Japanese descent goes for the Japanese team in the World Cup, or someone of German descent goes for the Germans, or whatnot, whatever it is. Okay, Mexican Americans, they go for El Tri. Okay, the Mexican national team. I think all those things are beautiful, right? So I'm just making that clear. But my thing, all right, and it's unfair to say all UK fans because that's just not true. Okay, but when it comes to this AJ thing, it's not really just the UK fans, right? There's a lot of other fans that just have a problem with some of these Wilder fans, okay, that are members of the LDBC. I mean, that's a lot of it has to do with that, okay. But as far as the UK fans, I don't think there's anything wrong with being passionate and supporting their guy, right? Um, it's just that I honestly believe that there's a cognitive bias there. And I don't think some of them realize how unreasonable they're being when it comes to talking this fight. Many of them just act out of character, right? And so I don't really fault them too much. They're just supporting their guy. And I understand it because I see it a lot in my culture. So if I could talk to one of my cousins who's a big boxing fan, right? He's pretty level headed when it comes to boxing. But when it comes to Canelo or when it comes to very popular Mexican fighters, he's not very level headed. He's just not level headed at all. And he will break all logic to defend Canelo. Or like it's almost it's kind of crazy sometimes. Whether it's defending the Khan fight, whatever it is, they'll break all logic. You know what I mean? They'll start making it about everybody else instead of Canelo. So I understand it. I really do. But at the end of the day, I can't control other people's emotions. All I can do is come on here and tell you what I want. I want to see this fight, right? I want to see this fight. I want to see this fight. I want to see this fight. Like the Saturday night that has AJ versus Wilder. I mean, Joshua Wilder, the day that's announced, man. There's going to be a lot of YouTube videos on here, right? There's going to be excitement. There's going to be buzz. And I don't care what anybody says. Before that bell rings, all right, a lot of you are going to be shitting bricks, okay? Because a lot of you have been talking a lot of shit, but it's all good. And I honestly mean that in a good way. Because that's what boxing's all about. It's about talking shit, right? but you're gonna be a lot of you are gonna be shitting bricks. All right, you're gonna be like, oh fuck, the bell's gonna ring. It's a heavyweight fight, and you're gonna know in the back of your head one shot can end everything. There's gonna be drama, and I can't wait for it, man. I can't wait for it. I want to see this. Right, so that's what I got to say about that. Great comments, guys. Shout out to Dan the Man. Peanut Butter Boxing just said, hold on. Quest X says AJ and Hearn have been dead silent since last night. That speaks volumes. Have they? All right. Blood Boxing returns. Those dart fans love Hearn, so does a few snooker fans, but the only one or two guys are Hearn fans on social media. All right, Tone. I'm pointing out the obvious here, but all the fans get fucked over by the promoters just to get the best fights. Peanut butter crackers. My problem is not supporting your country's fighter; it's dissing another fighter who isn't from your country. Many hate Wilder in a personal way. I'm an American. I do not hate Joshua. I don't think any of us should be hating fighters. Although I'll admit I hate Marco Antonio Barrera, but that's a totally different story. All right. But overall, well, we shouldn't be hating fighters, right? Black Latin, what's up? All right, Rascal thinks he's gonna AJ will beat Wilder. Dan the Man, I'm a UK fan who is rooting for Wilder. Not all of us are biased. Most boxing fans just want to see the fight. Blood Boxing returns. I know most UK fans do. Yeah, yeah. Eddie Hearn, man, he ain't about the fans. Blood Boxing continues. Wilder will embarrass AJ in his own stadium. Maybe come out to 50 Cent. Oh man, that'll be crazy. Blackland, these styles will. Did Wilder's performance last night change your prediction on Wilder versus AJ last night? I'll answer that in a moment. Rasclot to Blood Boxing returns. I'll bet you AJ wins. You got to record yourself doing 20 pull-ups. All right. So first to I don't know if Blood Boxing will answer that or not, but to Blackland and Caesar's question, no, it didn't change my prediction. Right. Um, it did not change my prediction to the fight. I still think Joshua wins, but I also say I want to see the fight. Let's see it happen. So some weird bets going on over here. Or you could bet some dough. You know, you could bet that too. But Questex says shit talk has always been part of sports. I don't know what happened to the new age sports fans. They want everyone to always be buddy buddy and are way too sensitive. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess it depends what type of trash talk, but I know what you're talking about. You know, I guess it's different in some other cultures, but at the end of the day, you know, I shared this story with somebody the other day, but and I might do something. I might continue my boxing stories series that I need to get back to, but so I don't want to say too much. But so I had an uncle. He was military. Okay, he passed away a couple years ago. Non-military related. It was a car accident, but he passed away. Right, and it was my only uncle on my dad's side. All right. So anyway, but before he passed away and all that, um, he had a lot of friends in Fort Bliss, okay, which is a fort pretty close to my hometown. And because of Fort Bliss, you know, you get a lot of people from all over the country. A lot of white dudes, a lot of black dudes, and Mexicans or Puerto Ricans outside of the city, okay. And but mostly um, whites and blacks, mostly, right? Um, but anyway, my uncle was friends with this black service guy. They were from the army, right? And I don't remember a whole lot because I was a very little kid, right? I don't think I was even 10 years old yet, but they would watch boxing together, right? They, now, my uncle would always go for the Mexican fighters, and his friend would always go for the African American fighters. And well, I don't remember word for word, like everything they would say, you know. Um, but I do remember there was a certain level of shit talking, right? Um, After the fights or whatnot, it didn't really matter anymore. They were still friends, you know. It's so. I guess what I'm trying to say is the way I grew up watching boxing is very different to the way others grew up watching boxing, right? And the best thing I can say is this. Sometimes you have to tell yourself it's only a sport, right? And at the end of the day, that's all it is. You know, it's at the end of the day. If you're starting to get extremely personal with somebody, right? You need to step back and ask yourself, wait a minute. It honestly is only a sport. That's honestly all it is. You know, like at the end of the day, there's no real reason for anybody to get bent out of shape. You know, there's just no reason for that. None. R.I.P. to my uncle, though. Black Latin says that's Texas. D-Style says, D-Style, Marco Antonio Barrera will fuck Rigo up. That's an interesting fight. Quest X, sorry for a loss. That was back in, he passed away in 99. 99. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, right? I'm going to wrap this up. I might do another video later, but as of right now, just wanted to go ahead and talk about this particular fight. And that's that, you know. And on this channel, you know, there's just some other stuff I want to do, and there'll be little short videos. But I do want to say, and to continue with what I had said before, I want to, you know, it's not a movement or anything, but I want to continue on what I had said a while back, and that was I want channels to stop talking about, hey, everybody, let's get back to talking boxing. Stop talking about that and actually start talking boxing, right? So that's all I got to say, all right? Well, that's it. This is DStyleBoxing. Keep it boxing.